time I've had to record this video. We're not doing it again. Welcome back to the Rant and Review Pro Wrestling, guys. And yes, let's just get right into it here. The big news story of the week: WWE apparently was sold, sort of, not really. I don't know why anybody thought that. On Tuesday night, Stephanie McMahon, this came right after Stephanie McMahon announced that she was stepping down as CEO of the company. In fact, the first video of this I recorded, I put out, and then I had to take it down because then the news story changed, because by the time I uploaded the video, the rumors were going around that WWE had been sold. So we're going to cover that. What happened with that? Is it being sold? Are people going to sell it? What do I think about it? And what the craziness is going on, and whether or not Vince kind of has played on the habits of the wrestling community, people like myself, and whether or not he's used that to pump up the stock price. Maybe some 3D, 4D chess here by Vince, who knows? But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys, speaking of business and stocks and investing and stuff, if you are interested in getting into the stock market or do basically just investing, which pretty much you should, because we don't have pensions, and I'm not so certain about Social Security, especially if you're people younger than me. So if you want to get involved with that, I can say that I do use Webull. So Webull is an option. You can get a link down in the description box below. They give away free stocks for people signing up. They have different offers every single month, all the time, for different amounts of stocks and everything else. So check it out if you're interested in that stuff. But let's talk about what happened with this whole WWE sale thing. So now I went back and I tried to re-upload this video again, and I forgot half the stuff that I said in the last video. And I always delete the videos to save space. I should probably stop doing that. I should probably actually get a backup and save all my old videos in case my channel ever goes down again, which I didn't do last time. But I'm gonna summarize it here, and okay, hopefully it'll be as good as the last one I did, because I really liked the last video I put up. But so anyway, so retracting this story, Stephanie steps down. A couple hours later, everybody is freaking out. I'm on Coco Sports and his Twitch stream, and by the way, follow Coco Sports on YouTube and Twitch. I'm just chilling out, doing some other stuff. I got Twitch stream on, and we're talking in the chat, and all of these people keep coming in, and they're mentioning it, and they're saying, oh, WWE was sold by the Saudis, they're going to take it private. The reason I said this is because for the hour before this happened, I have been going through my so I use Webull, like I said at the beginning of the video, and they have news feeds for all of the companies, and they have general news feeds and all kinds of stuff, obviously, so you can make an informed decision, or as much of an informed decision as you can make these days. And I was spent an hour reading a bunch of stuff. I was looking at investing in another stock. For those of you who don't know, I do investing, and I do options and long-term investing. So I'm looking at this, and I'm seeing all this news, and I'm going, okay, let me go check out this WWE sales stuff, because I hadn't seen anything, and I had been knee-deep in spending an hour reading through a bunch of different financial websites, and I figured it would show up on the side or the top or the front page or something. Well, maybe not the front page, but it would show up somewhere, prominent, that you would be able to see. And especially with my browser history, they would know I like wrestling, so they would probably pump something like that to me. But I didn't see anything. The only places I saw were on wrestling YouTube videos and wrestling Twitter accounts, and the wrestling journalism community, which maybe I'm kind of a part of. I don't know. I don't really consider myself a journalist, but people get information and watch our stuff to get information and what we think about it. And I'm seeing not everybody. There are a lot of people who, by the way, who didn't do it, who actually said, I'm going to hold off on commenting on this. Some very, very savvy people, and I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about the people that went out and flat out said that Tuesday night, in the middle of the night, in the dark, in some back alley somewhere, Vince McMahon sold WWE to a fund group in Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund, and they've taken it private. The other thing I said about this that really kind of made me laugh is that, wait a minute, the company's taken private. No. If Vince has sold the company and it has now been taken private and it's all done, if it's sold, if it's out of, some of you may know that I was gifted WWE stock many, many years ago. I have shareholder stuff. I get the emails, I get the voting stuff all the time. I look at it, I read the reports and everything else. If there's going to be a sale of the company, they would have to inform the shareholders that this company had been sold. They would have to be something that goes out to confirm this. It can't just be like, that's why I was kind of confused. And especially if they're taking it private, because if they take it private, here's how that works, actually. If a public company is available and you have a bunch of shareholders who are people like myself and probably some people watching this video, you own shares of WWE, we own part of the company. So if the company is going to be sold and taken private, they have to pay the shareholders a premium in order to have that company sold to them. Then they have to delist it. There's about 36 things that have to happen for a sale of a company, let alone a public company going to become a private company. And that happening in the middle of the night on a Tuesday, I was like, something don't smell right about this. So of course the next day came around and the stock went up, which we'll talk about in a second. And then there was a lot of people backtracking and comparing it to all these other things. I'm like, this is not like WCW. This is not like buying the ECW library. This is not like Tony Khan buying Ring of Honor. This is a totally different animal. This is a major publicly traded company. You can't just do that. It doesn't work. Now, that's not to say that Vince isn't trying to sell the company. And it's not to say, by the way, that if you sell the company that the shareholders are screwed up. The shareholders will probably be happy that the company is sold. Again, unless if they're taking it private, they have to pay us out and take the shares away. Or we have the option, if they sell the company, to keep our shares, which is why while I say that thinking that it was sold on Tuesday night is silly, I don't think that the idea of Vince McMahon selling WWE is silly. And yes, again, the wrestling community has been saying this for 3, 4, 5 years now, that Vince is going to sell the company. I've been watching those videos for so long about people saying WWE is going to be up for sale, WWE is going to be up for sale, and I'm like, who else is saying this? But now, in the last 2 weeks, and you can see this reflected in the stock price and then their stock chart, it looks like Vince did come back. I believe that he does want to sell, because they said they want to sell, and they said that's the reason that he's coming back to the company. And if you look back, even stuff he said on the Pat McAfee podcast about how he admired the people in that area of the world, the Saudi Arabia deals and all this stuff, it's been something that he's been considering. But I think after the scandal and everything else, who really knows what's going on in Vince's head? God only knows what's in Vince's head, but who really knows? But I think the scandal, when that happened, they may have been thinking about it, but I think maybe it's been sped up a little bit by what all happened with the scandal, and Vince is getting older too. Again, a broken clock is right at least twice a day, so people can say that WWE, well, we've been saying that for 3 years. Unless you said it was going to happen in January 2023, I can say Vince McMahon is going to one day not run WWE. Yes, eventually, that's very likely to happen, that someday Vince won't be running WWE, but I'm not a genius for saying that. And it's also true is that a lot of companies get sold. Anyway, rant aside, now I'm going to do some speculation, and the speculation I'm going to do is whether or not Vince may have counted on this happening in order for the price to go up. He wants that price, if that's the case, he wants that price to be as high as it possibly can be. This is going to be wrestling's version of the AMC, GameStop, Wall Street Bets thing from the other year, where instead of it being AMC and GameStop, it's WWE stock, and instead of it being Wall Street Bets, it's going to be the IWC. Except the Wall Street Bets people actually make money off of it, and the IWC, I mean, and any other time I would kind of consider that. I'm like, that's a funny idea, and maybe it's far-fetched, but given what he's been doing for the past couple of weeks, I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of the consideration, is maybe, and this is speculation, of course, maybe it was leaked out because we knowing the pattern of the internet wrestling community, if they get a whiff of anything, they're going to run with it. Nobody's going to verify jack. Nobody's going to get an official word or see a sales or see anything else. Maybe Vince played us. But here's another scenario that could possibly be true. Maybe it was just an accident. Maybe somebody said something or read something they shouldn't have seen, because it's very likely that there is Vince did all of this stuff over the last couple of weeks, I would think, because he's got a buyer in mind. and it might be the Saudis, and that might be what's being leaked out there, and then people didn't understand that and just confused it that he had sold it to the Saudis instead of that's kind of that's his buyer that he has in mind, which are two different things, two very big different things. Now, I wouldn't rag on the people who did it, again, nobody was meant any harm by it. These things happen, unfortunately, because this really isn't a journalistic space. It's kind of like we're all fans and we hear rumors and then we all repeat them. But I just, again, it goes back to the CM Punk Elite thing. It's kind of, we just went through that, and I kind of have an attitude, because I don't consider my channel to be like, oh, this is, everything. I do some news on the channel, but this is more about, me sharing my thoughts and views and the way I see wrestling with other people out there. And hopefully you guys enjoy my perspective on it. And that comes with some news stories when they drop. Something like this that affects a different universe outside of the wrestling community, if I don't see it reported there, along with the wrestling stuff, I'm not gonna really put too much stock into it. For those of you who are WWE fans, and I've seen a lot of you guys panicking about this stuff. Oh my God, it's the end. Oh, congratulations to Tony Khan. Oh, WWE's gonna down the toilet. I wouldn't panic. We have no idea what WWE is going to be in 6 months. No, the only people that know what WWE is going to look like in the next 6 months or 6 months from now are Vince, a handful of multi-billionaire company owners, and God. That's about his tag team partner. Those are the only people who have any idea what's going to happen, what we're going to see from WWE in 6 months. What's going to happen with this whole sale thing? Nobody really knows. But I just find this whole scenario, the wrestling industry, from us as fans, also us as people in the wrestling media, from the people the guys and the boys and the girls who work in the companies, the people running this whole thing is so fascinating. It's entertaining as hell. And at the end of the day, what I want to say to you, if you're really upset about these things, is don't get too upset about it. It's all for entertainment. Even the news, especially when it's not even correct news, is all for entertainment in this space, and we should all just have a good time with it. And I will see you guys here next time on a Rant and Review Pro Wrestling, and also be sure to check out the Rant and Review Gaming. We are getting near the end of our God of War Ragnarok Let's Play, and we will be doing the big finale of Ragnarok Live, so definitely subscribe to that channel and hit notifications so you can check out when that's coming up. Till then, guys, have a nice day.